What's up, guys? So this is going to be like a 4-part series. I may go longer because there's tons of material that I could go off of, talking about the dark side of Colonel Parker. Okay, I know there's you know, a good section of people out there that think he's just so great, and that Elvis's success, you know, was partly at least because of the Colonel. Here's the thing: I only credit Colonel for his 50s work with Elvis, because, you know, I'll give him some props. Through his connections, he was able to get Elvis on TV, which really helped him, because from 54 to 56 he was only touring the South, and he needed that breakout. And also I give him credit for getting Elvis on the big screen, like cinema, making movies. I give him credit for that. But here's the thing: I think this is where maybe Elvis you know, messed up in his evaluation of the Colonel, and maybe Vernon also, because after Gladys passed away, it was just Elvis and Vernon. So I think that Elvis, you know, maybe underestimated himself in how charismatic he was, how talented he was, and he underestimated his own ability to get himself over, to get himself successful, to make it on his own, so to speak. I feel like he was sort of insecure in that area, because we know that in the 50s, I believe it was because of him. His own talent helped him do it. And you know, the '68 special, Colonel wanted that to be some type of a Perry Como TV, you know, little Christmas thing, which would have been stupid. And you know, Elvis, through his own talent, was able to, you know, revitalize his career that the Colonel put down the drain, because Colonel wanted easy money. He wanted those easy movie deals, and he didn't want him to be overexposed, but it was also harder to do tours and all that stuff. So you just let him go to Hollywood for 6 weeks, 4 weeks, do a movie, you're good. I made my money, you made your money. I don't care if these roles suck, because, you know, you're just making quick cash. I think that Elvis was very loyal to Colonel, because Elvis went from straight poverty to some success on his own with Bob Neal as a manager and Scotty Moore as a manager, and then he just skyrocketed pretty much overnight. Remember, Elvis always says this all happened so fast.
Well, everything has happened to me so fast in the last year and a half till I'm all mixed up, you know. I mean, I can't keep up with everything that's happening.
And it happened because he went on TV and got that exposure. But the thing is, the Colonel wasn't on TV with him. Elvis was the one that, through his good looks, through his charisma, and through his groundbreaking performance style, because that's what it was. If Elvis didn't have those things, and if he got on TV and he flopped, the Colonel wasn't gonna still make him a star. It was Elvis that made himself a star. And I think that Elvis's loyalty, to Elvis's own personal loyalty, and his maybe insecurities, that, you know, maybe Colonel really did help me, or at least 50-50. And, you know, what if I, you know, I don't like the way my career's going, but if I get rid of the Colonel, what if I really can't do it on my own? What if I really do need him? After the 50s, Elvis outgrew the Colonel. He didn't need him anymore. He needed him to get on TV, and he needed him to make movies. But Elvis, like I said, was a very loyal guy, and he just stuck with him even though he didn't need to. A few things that I found very interesting are some quotes from Scotty Moore, DJ Fontana, Gordon Stoker, and Red West. People who were there in the 50s, who saw what was going on. Let me read you some quotes from them, which I know you'll find very interesting, about Colonel Parker and who he was. So here's one from Scotty Moore.
And the guy over here on my left is the guy that played guitar for me when I first started out in 1912.
The split between us and Elvis was Parker's doing. I try not to be around him any more than I had to. I had heard stuff about him from other people when he first started on the scene, and I was leery of him. Frankly, he was just a con man. I could see what he did with Bob Neal. He whittled away at getting rid of him. They said this wrong in here. He wanted to get rid of the band, the Jordanaires. He wanted to get rid of anything and anyone who was pre-Parker, because Elvis had his own management team. He first had through Sam Phillips, Scotty Moore, and then Bob Neal. And then when Colonel got there, he wanted to get rid of everybody before himself. That was including DJ and Scotty Moore. Now let's go on. Gordon Stoker, one of the Jordanaires. This is a quote from him, talking about Colonel. He was a cold-hearted, hard-nosed businessman, but that's what it took. Or at least that's what he thought it took to get him through this world of bookers and such the like, who all wanted a piece of action. He was an honest man, and he never made a deal that he did not stick to, even if he lost money or whatever. But he was a cold-hearted man, and he never showed any love or respect for the talent that was around him. That was one thing that Elvis was missing so much. If just at one time he'd have put his arm around him or told him that he was doing a great job and he was proud of him, but the Colonel just wasn't that way. So here's a few thoughts on the Colonel from those people that really knew him, that he was cold, that he was in it for the money. Yeah, he was honest, but were these deals, he was honest with the deal, but was the deal good for Elvis? No. Let's hear what DJ Fontana had to say. I learned to stay out of his way. He was probably one of the shrewdest fellows I've seen in my life. I don't really know what their true relationship was, but it worked that evidently Elvis was happy with what he was doing, or otherwise he wouldn't have left and gone with someone else. I guess they had some kind of mutual agreement. I think sometimes some of the deals might have been more to the Colonel's advantage, but Elvis was happy, so what can you say? So DJ noticed that things weren't right, but I guess since Elvis is still with him, he is fine with it. But, you know, I think that it's because, you know, Elvis was scared to be out on his own, like that video I made a few months ago, the night Elvis fired Col Parker. Colonel came back to Elvis with some numbers saying, you owe me these millions, which was, I'm sure, could be proven a lie. And, you know, if Elvis would have got a lawyer, I'm sure he would have, you know, been able to sift through that. And, you know, but Vernon got scared, and Elvis was like, oh man, it might just be easier to keep Colonel, you know, and then I'll get to that in the other videos. Let's hear what Red West has to say, and I think this is very interesting as I wrap up this video. The Colonel treated all of Elvis's friends hot and cold. Hot and cold. He was friendly, but he always kept his distance. I never did care for Colonel. I'd like to know who says he's the greatest manager. It couldn't have been anybody that was around Elvis. So to wrap up this video, I want to leave you with a few points that really clarify what I'm saying. I think that after the 60s, when Elvis got back from the Army and made Elvis's back, I think after that was the time to let Colonel go. Because we know that in the 60s, Colonel got Elvis into those long-term movie deals. And if you notice, as opposed to the 50s, Elvis didn't do any type of TV performances other than that first one on Frank Sinatra, and he had rarely any other recordings other than the soundtrack. So Elvis would do the movie, do the soundtrack, boom, done, on to the next one. And his career was declining each and every year, and it didn't help when other acts like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Motown was doing great, came and started to outshine Elvis, because Elvis wasn't putting anything out. And also the thing was quantity over quality. You know, the Beatles didn't come out with as many albums as Elvis did. The Beatles took their time, focused on an album and on the singles around that album, and then put it out. Elvis had to do so many things per year, and Colonel would only allow Elvis to do the songs where he got some of the publishing. How does that make sense? The Colonel, I believe, looked at Elvis like a money-making tool for him. And he didn't look at Elvis, how can I help Elvis? How do I care for my client? And the plus side is I get money at the same time. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. I will be coming out with more videos related to this. Make sure you like it. Make sure you share these videos if you want Elvis is the Man channel to grow. Hope you guys like my Rolling Stones shirt. I am a fan of all different types of music. And also, I want to give a shout out to my other channels while I got you here. King David 66, which is a channel devoted to Bible teaching. A lot of you have went over there and are telling me how much you like it, and I hope more of you will and check it out. It's very helpful. And also a fitness page where I teach you about nutrition and training so you can reach the goals that you have. So thanks for this one. Check out Elvis is the Man and look forward to the next video in this series.